Welcome back to another episode of What Do You Got? Sounds good to rebrand after one episode, fellas, no?
Feels
Love
great.
the rebrand.
It's a new
rebrand.
day. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and we'll get right into it. I'm sure most of you guys noticed that there are some interesting lines this week in some big-time games. 4 of them stuck out to me, with that first one having to be Georgia only being 3.5-point favorites at Auburn. What do you got on that?
Jay, you want to go or me?
You want you? I can take it if you don't
I'll
want
go.
it.
I'll go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So what I got on this Georgia Auburn game, I say you should hammer Gunnar Stockton's passing yards because I think Auburn's pass defense absolutely sucks, and Gunnar Stockton might just be him. I got like EPA wise pass defense, they're 115th. They can stop the run, but other than they suck at stopping the pass. What else do I got on this game? So yeah, Auburn can also run the ball, but Georgia stops the run. So I don't really understand the spread of 3.5. I think Georgia can end up winning by like 10. But it is Auburn at home. It's going to be a big game, so I'm sure like that's a big part into it. But I don't see how this is going to be close. I also know like Georgia already has an L, so as much as like Auburn's in desperation mode, so is Georgia. They don't want a second L on the year. So I think Georgia wins this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I think you're right, Baldwin. You talked about the run game, and I think it's going to come down to the line of scrimmage. And Georgia, flat out, is just better at the line of scrimmage. You know, it's SEC ball. There's athletes everywhere, but I'm hammering Georgia -3.5. I think that's just an absolute ridiculous spread. And now we're going to bring in Tom, who's going to bet on Auburn because he loves Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn has had a few games this year against some pretty good teams in Oklahoma and Texas A&M where they've been right in it the whole time. I mean, they had a legitimate chance to win that Oklahoma game. They were never really in it against A&M, but I'm really interested or intrigued by the defensive stats of Baldwin because their defense has looked pretty good this year in every single game except that Baylor game when Sawyer Robinson was throwing the ball all over the yard.
Yeah, I mean,
This is interesting to me. I'm with you. It's desperation mode for Georgia, but being at Auburn, I know we touched on it the other day with that 8-game win streak. Auburn also wants this game really bad. They got a bad taste in their mouth from those last two close losses, and they want to sneak out of there with a win. And I think Jackson Arnold is slowly. Let me rephrase that. I think Jackson Arnold is very quickly learning that he's playing for his job right now. I'm at the point where I'm willing to say that because their defense has been doing their job in those games to keep them in it, and he hasn't been able to put up points. And he's kind of the one that you're starting to blame because you watch him throw the ball. He takes a lot of sacks. He likes to run it, but if you're a quarterback, you got to be able to throw.
most sacked team in the country.
That's
Auburn
absurd.
football. Yeah.
And now you're going up against the Georgia D line.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know
Right?
they're going to be able to pressure the quarterback. So if this game relies, if Auburn is going to be able to do it, it's going to be on the hands of Jackson Arnold. Tom, like you said, he's playing for his job. I have one more question about this game. Let's say Georgia gets a lead early and controls this football game and wins this football game. When do we see the freshman Deuce Knight take over for the Auburn Tigers?
I think it's in the next few weeks. I mean, depending on how Arnold plays, obviously, if it's a shootout, that's a whole different story. I don't envision it being a shootout whatsoever with two pretty good defenses. And maybe, I mean, we saw Ty Simpson shred up Georgia every time he took a 3-step drop to throw the ball. So maybe he'll find some openings. I don't think it'll be the week after this game. I think he'll get one more, but I think if he struggles 2 straight games again, I think that $2.5 million is going to go to a backup quarterback.
Would you compare it to a Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway situation?
I wouldn't necessarily because Deuce Knight was not the number one quarterback in the class, and I do think I think there are similarities and differences. If Hugh Freeze really does trust Deuce Knight that much to where he's going to put his job on the line, because his seat is burning up quickly. So if he wants to throw him in there, that's kind of going to be his last-ditch effort to try and keep his job, to show that they got a guy that can get him over the hump if it's not Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's very similar. I think Arnold's ceiling is higher than Grant Mertz's ceiling ever was at Florida. And I think Deuce Knight's ceiling is lower than DJ Lagway's ceiling ever was at Florida. So I think it's similar, but it's very different at the same time, especially for what Hugh Freeze is having to go through with his job, basically being on the line, coming down the stretch this season.
Yeah, we also saw DJ Lagway ball out at the end of last year, but we don't know if Graham Mertz never got that injury, would DJ have come in at the end of the year? Like, it's easy to say yes because he played so well, but we wouldn't have seen that necessarily. You know, Graham Mertz would have had a few more weeks. He had his last 2 weeks that he was healthy. He had an 80+% completion percentage, which is insanely impressive. So I don't know, but I say we move on to the next game, which this is probably the most intriguing one. Not from a surprising standpoint necessarily, but more like, is Missouri legit?
Yeah. So this is basically in my world, even though we got Ahmad Hardy, I think this is like going to come down to the quarterback battle. Because Ty Simpson's been playing absolutely electric. I do have a dog scale on Ahmad Hardy, and if it was 1 through 10, I would put him at a 10. He is a complete dog, but I think that's going to be whole Bama's game plan, is to stop him from running it, because they're going to make Bo Prib beat him. But I don't know if you want to do that if you're Bama, because I think Bo Prib can do it. I think this will be the first game he'll actually have to prove it, that he has to win a game. But I think Bama's game plan on defense is going to be, don't let him run for 150 against us. Yeah, I mean, I think Mizzou wins this game if they're able to rush over 150 yards. If they're not able to, I think Bama can win this game, because also Bama's in desperation mode too. Also got to have a loss. No team lost that second loss season. You got to win out the rest of the way. I've seen people talk about how Bama can have 3 losses and still get in. I think that's completely bullshit, but I don't think their schedule's that hard where they should get in, where other teams can go 10. They have to go 10-2. So yeah, I do have Bama winning this game, but Mizzou, it's probably the biggest game in their whole program's history, so I could easily see Mizzou winning.
Especially with them being at home, I like Mizzou a lot, and I think you touched on it with Ashad Harvey. If Alabama can stop him and force Bo Prib to throw the football, it would definitely on paper say it's advantageous to Alabama. But I think there's another aspect of this game that is very interesting, and I think that's going to be Bo Privia's legs, right? Because you having to stop a two-headed monster with 2 great runners is going to be tough for the Alabama defense, and I think that's something you could see Missouri lean on is Bo Privia's ability to run the football. He's a great runner. We saw him do it at Penn State. We see him do it already this year, and I think that on the outside, Alabama is more talented. I think cornerbacks and receivers, they're more talented. I think Ty Simpson is going to have a great game. I think Ryan Williams is going to continue to be fantastic. So in terms of the spread, I don't think I'll be betting on that, but I will be taking the over 51.5 in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of points. It's going to be a high-scoring offensive football game. Maybe a little bit of a Big 12 action kind of game, even though we're in the SEC.
Yeah, let me give you guys an interesting stat. Missouri has a 15-game home win streak right now that they are riding into this game when Bama comes to town. That is the top 3 current home win streak, just behind Oregon and Boise State. That's significant home field advantage.
Yeah.
And I know they're doing that construction in their end zone right now to take up some seats, but I think Mizzou's going to come rocking. I mean, every SEC team is probably pretty excited when Alabama comes to town. And you got a 15-home game win streak with an unproven quarterback. I think there's a good chance Bo Prib wants to take this one over and put the nation on notice that he can play.
Heisman campaign?
The Heisman campaign for Bo Prib might be coming. It might be coming.
Is it time to change our podcast name to the Bo Prib Fan Club? Because I've been
Bo
back
Prib
to back
Fan
episodes.
Club.
We talk about how much we love Bo Prib, all three of us.
We love him around
We
here.
all think he's a dog.
I think we
Now-
can rebrand number 2 in our second episode.
Or we just hate Drew Aller. Maybe that's why we like Bo Prib so much.
Absolutely.
Let me give you a situation too here. In a hypothetical world where Auburn beats Georgia and Mizzou beats Alabama, Georgia and Alabama are both now on the outside looking in at getting into the SEC championship. Do you guys know when the last time there was an SEC championship without Alabama or Georgia?
And I want to say 2019, but didn't LSU beat Alabama in the SEC championship? It was at Georgia. It was one of the two.
LSU beat Georgia.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
It's
Had
been
been a minute,
11
though.
years since
Yeah.
we've had an SEC championship without Alabama or Georgia. And to make it even more fun, in 2013, it was Auburn versus Mizzou. Both teams that can break the streak in a crazy way in week 7.
Did y'all see that? I saw something, might have been just complete rage bait, but I don't think so. It was on Elite College Football. Wonderful page. Shout out to them. Hopefully they can sponsor this podcast. Pretty cool. So, shameless plug right there. But it was that.
That's our
Florida
comp,
tournament-
Jay. That's our comp.
Never mind. Fuck them. Fuck them. Never mind. But it was something that Florida has the best statistical odds to win the SEC now after that win, ahead of undefeated Ole Miss, undefeated Oklahoma, one lost Bama, one
there's
lost
no
Georgia. I swear, I'll pull it up right now.
What qualifies as statistical odds? Because I don't see a world where that stat plays in their favor. Now, I know they do have 2 non-conference losses, but their schedule is still brutal.
The only thing about
Yeah.
Bama, too, is they only have one
Dog
SEC loss.
Bama has 0 SEC losses.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So,
But
like,
if you-
even
if
if they
you give them
lose, is
one-
my point.
If you give them 1, they still got to do pretty well the rest of the year to get out of there, and they can't lose that game to Oklahoma down the road.
Doesn't Bama's schedule get a lot easier at some point?
I'm going to assume so, but I do believe they still have to play, besides Oklahoma, obviously they're playing Missouri. They still have to play South Carolina. They still have to play LSU. You know, none of those games are guaranteed wins. There's definitely harder schedules out there, but
All right, you guys want the top 5 in the SEC to win. It gets Bama at plus 210, Ole Miss plus 600, A&M plus 650, Georgia plus 650, then Oklahoma plus 700. Florida is down there. Probably just because
No,
their schedule.
it wasn't an odds maker. It was like some ESPN thing. You know how they have the ESPN FPI?
Oh, like
It
the
was
FPI?
it was that kind of metric. I'm still looking for it. I might have been hallucinating when I saw it. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, that's pretty nuts if that's true. But they got a long road ahead of them, and they gotta heat up real quick. But Billy Napier does choose to coach like Saban when his job is on the line, and DJ Lagway plays like the Heisman that he should be. Are you looking that up, Jay, or should we move on?
Move on.
All right. The next game, Texas favored by 1.5 points against Oklahoma. What do you got?
Well, I got a question to start off. Like, I think John Mateer's going to play. Do you guys know for sure what the word is on that?
So
one knows?
what I've seen is that if John Mateer doesn't play, the line would be more like 5.5.
I saw that.
So I think they're taking into account that they're going to assume he is going to play. And from my perspective, coming back from an injury like that, if he's not fully healthy, he's going to try to play, but it's still going to affect his game. You know, whether he wants to be on that field or not, it's going to affect how he plays football. So just because he's in the game, I don't think it's going to be the John Mateer that we saw the first 4 weeks of the season. I think it's going to be a hindered John Mateer, and there might be a few throws that he misses in a big moment that could change the trajectory of that game, and that's why I would lean Texas here, especially coming off that loss against Florida. I think they're hungry, and I think Arch Manning, the worst has already happened to that guy. I mean, all of the hype, the Heisman, the Natty, the number one pick, all of it, and he is a bottom tier quarterback in the SEC right now. So there's only up from here for that guy. I don't think they're going to pull him. I think he knows that. They're paying him too much money. He's too big of a brand. They're not going to take him out of the game, so he's got no other option but to crawl up.
Yeah. I think you hit that perfectly. You said that great. I mean, this is literally a chance for Arch Manning to rewrite his script that he has, right? Terrible start. 2 losses already. One of them to Ohio State. That one, not, that's a quality loss. The Florida loss, that one's brutal, right? But he's a chance to go win a Red River rivalry game and flip the script on him as a player, flip the script for Texas on their season and Oklahoma's perfect season. I think that this moment is built for Arch Manning, and this is his moment to now show the country that, all right, I'm good. Like, I started off cold, but I am who everyone thought I was going to be, right? I think if he does that, then Texas wins the football game. And if he continues to be the Arch Manning we have seen, which has been a disappointing Arch Manning, I think that Oklahoma, even with an injured John Mateer, is going to take care of business and win that football game. I think this game 100% is going to come down to what Arch Manning are we going to see?
Yeah, I personally want to see 2 things out of the Texas offense, and that's 1, give Arch more time, and 2, Arch, get the ball out of your fucking hand. Like, I feel like Tom touched on it last podcast. Backup came in, got the ball out of his hand. It was like an 18-yard completion. I think it also has to do with Sark. Sark needs to get the ball out of his hand, draw better plays to get the ball out of his hand. If they can do that, I do think Texas wins this game. They already have 2 losses. Big game. So I think Texas can sneak out there with a dub. But those are the 2 things I want to see out of the Texas offense. If they can do that, they'll win.
I do want to give a shout out to Matthew Caldwell, though, because he came into that game with no warm-ups. Usually when the quarterback goes down, you get to throw the ball a few times on the sidelines before you come in. And he came in while the clock was running. Stadium pulse has never been higher, and he throws an absolute seed to get them that first down in a much-needed situation. Shout out Group of 5 transfers. Give them a real chance.
Can we talk about one Group of 5 game real quick?
Why not? We show love to the Group of 5 around here.
Well, on the script we got, there's no Group of 5 games on there, so I want to touch on it a little bit. We got
We're just
ourselves
some off-script players.
a doozy of a battle on Friday night in the American Conference. South Florida versus North Texas, the Fighting Bulls versus the Mean Green. I cannot wait for that matchup. That's going to be a good one. 1.5 point spread. What are you guys thinking about that one? Early thoughts, just off the dome. Let it fly.
It's a playoff game. This is a Group of 5 playoff game this Friday night between North Texas and USF. And one of the craziest stories in college football has to be the North Texas quarterback not starting a football game until the bowl game last season. He hasn't started a game since his freshman year of high school. It's been 7 years, and this guy has come in, and North Texas has a legitimate chance to make the playoff if they win the American, which starts by winning this game on Friday night.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really have an opinion until hearing that stat. This dude, I haven't watched much North Texas football, but he must be a complete dog if he hasn't played since freshman year of high school. Like, I don't know how you do that. How do you get a job at a FBS program after not playing for 7 years? I think that's nuts.
So he walked on at North Texas, and this past offseason, North Texas actually got a Miami transfer. His name's Reese Profengardner, I think I'm saying that right. He was at Albany, transferred to Miami in case they couldn't get Cam Ward. And so he didn't play at Miami, transferred to North Texas. Everyone thought he was going to start. But my boy Jake, 7 years off the pine, decided, nah, I'm going to the Yoffs.
I don't think they're going to the Yoffs because I think Alex Golesh got something to say about it with that high-pace, flying offense in Baron Brown. He's going to run the football, mini Cam Newton. He's going to sling the rock. They're fun to watch. They're my favorite team to bet on. Regardless, I bet on them almost every single week. I don't care. I'm in love with Alex Golesh and that offense. Give me the Bulls, alternate spread, 10.5. They ruined that backup scrub's dreams, and they set a statement. We are the best group of 5 team in the country. Give me the Bulls by 1 million. Byron Brown, Heisman campaign. Actually, never mind. Byron Brown, big game. Go Bulls. I'm fired up for a little Friday night lights like back in high school, fellas.
Yeah, not if they play like they did against Miami. I don't know if they'd get out of that one. But
you mean the number 2 team in the country? Oh no. Oh no. Their facilities cost more than the USF roster. I'm so sorry they didn't play up to your liking for that one, Tom. I'm sorry. On behalf of all Bulls fans out there, I'm going to apologize for that one. Making you watch that.
Regardless of who we think is going to win the game, I think it's going to be an absolute shootout, and I'll be tuning in at 6:30 tomorrow night on ESPN. That's for damn sure.
If you don't watch that game, you can't claim to like college football. You know, like I just think that's just a simple take right there. If you're like, oh, I don't want to watch the greatest group of 5 game maybe ever, the most important group of 5 game maybe ever, you can't claim to be a college football fan. And Baldwin, I know you'll be tuned in. You'll probably put money on North Texas now.
I might. I'm thinking USF just because I've watched some of their games and they've looked electric. They just drop points left and right. I mean, they did beat Florida. Florida obviously has a ton of L's, but I think that's in the swamp. That's an awesome win. Like, they won that game for a reason, so.
Yeah, and the video of their coaches hyping up right in front of the Florida coaches after they pulled that upset, man, there's something special down there in Tampa. Let me tell you. Bulls to the playoffs, Bulls to win a playoff game, first group of 5 team to ever win a playoff game. Let's get back to Power 5 football before I get myself in some trouble by keep talking.
Hey, nothing bad to say about Group of 5 around here, especially when you got some mid-season playoffs going on. All right. The Utah Utes are favored by 5.5 against defending Big 12 champions Arizona State. That is not what I expected. But if you were to go off of the previous few games, ASU is not favored very well when it comes to the Vegas aspect of college football because they played TCU 2 weeks ago or last week. No, they didn't. Who did they play last week?
TCU was. They definitely played TCU.
I think ASU had a
last
bye
week.
in the week. Yeah, so ASU had a bye, and the week before that they played TCU, and they were favored in that game by 1.5. But the week before that, they had Baylor favored over Arizona State, which is kind of disrespectful. And now they're underdogs by 5.5 points, and then they travel to Lubbock, Texas next week against what looks like one of the hottest teams in the country. I'm going to assume they're not going to be favored in that one. So that's 3 of 4 games. 3 games in a 4-game stretch where the reigning Big 12 champs are not favored against in-conference teams.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jet.
Yeah, I thought earlier in the year that Mississippi State upset wasn't necessarily a knock on ASU. I thought maybe Mississippi State might be back, but then after a very disappointing performance against Texas A&M, I don't know. I think that anymore. And Devin Dampier is an electric quarterback for Utah. They're gonna, Utah's a tough and physical football team. I'm not sold on Sam Leavitt. I'm a huge Kenny Dillingham fan. I'm not sold on Sam Leavitt as of now. Obviously, they have Jordan Tyson on the outside, who's a fantastic ball player. But I would say I like ASU to cover the spread, but I think Utah will win the football game. That's what I would say about this one in terms of my bets.
Yeah, Jay, I can actually completely agree with you. I just trust in Kenny Dillingham to like not go out there and make has his team look like complete crap. So that's like who I'm trusting. I am kind of a Sam Levitt believer, so that's the other reason too. Um, but the one thing I was seeing on the stat sheet about ASU is they can't stop the run. And like I know Utah's Devin Dampier, he can throw the ball a little bit, but he can also run it. He's like that's kind of his like playmaking style is like he can run or throw it. Dual threat quarterback. So I think like that could be the issue for ASU, and that's maybe why the line's 5.5 because they haven't really stopped the run all season. So I think if that's the case, Utah might cover the 5.5. But other than that, I think it will be a tight one.
Here's what I'm going to say. Vegas doesn't like ASU. They don't have Cam Scattaboo anymore, who put up one of the most electric performances I've ever seen with my own two eyes against Texas. Utah has won 92% of their night home games in the last 10 seasons. So, playing in Utah is a tough place to play. Now, with all that being said, something tells me Kenny Dillingham does not care what Vegas says about him. And I think ASU is going to pull off the upset. I don't care what the line is. I don't care how many times Utah wins at night at home. I think Kenny Dillingham and Sam Leavitt get it done and continue to overcome the odds. No one believed in them last year. No one's believing in them right now. I think, in my opinion, they are still the favorites to win the Big 12, considering they are one of 4 undefeated teams in that conference. They have an undefeated record in that conference, and they're still in a great position to make it back to that Big 12 championship game and get right back to the playoffs. I'm gonna continue to believe in Kenny Dillingham and what he's doing down there in Tempe, Arizona.
Upset pick by Tom.
So, out of those 4 games, my question for you guys is, what upset are you most confident in happening this Saturday?
I think I would have to say Missouri. Are we talking in terms of numbers next to your name or Vegas spreads? Like, because obviously Oklahoma's ranked higher, Texas is favored.
I'm going to go with the Vegas odds, the underdog. Who are you most confident in?
Well, I think we got the same one. Ready? I'll say the first half. You say the second half. M-I-Z.
I don't know the other half.
C-O-U. I like Mizzou. I think
Is that their
Does
chant?
not
That's a
know how to
lame
spell.
chant. That's their chant.
This guy does not know how to spell. It just spells
M-I-Z.
Mizzou, Baldwin.
I thought it went into something else.
Nope, just the spelling. If you want to simplify it, we could do the OHIO chant. We can just can 2 letters and make
I don't
it
think I
easier
can
on
spell
you, there,
Ohio.
man.
Truly don't.
I don't know if I was going to pick Mizzou, so fuck that anyways. If I had to pick one, I'm green with Tom. I had to go with ASU.
I think if I had to pick one, I'm going with the Missouri Tigers as well, Jay. I'll do it with you. I'll say it with you here. If you want to start us off, I'll finish it because Bo Prib is going to get it done this weekend against the hottest team in the country in Alabama, and we're right back to that Kalen DeBoer conversation of, is he the guy? Now, I do think he is, regardless as to what happens, but I'm a believer in Mizzou this season. I like what Drink is doing. I think he's an entertaining guy. I think he's a great coach, and he's doing a lot for that program. And I think this is a, if you want it, go grab it moment for Mizzou, and I think they're going to seize the opportunity.
Yeah, I think this is Missouri's biggest game since back when they had Nikhil Hill Green playing receiver. Am I dumb?
Dorian Green Beckham?
There it is. The Nikhil Hill Green is a linebacker. But yes, he was a ball player. I remember I was watching it with your family, Tom. I had to rub the wine bottle. Wasn't allowed to leave the wine bottle because that's when Missouri was scoring. But I think this might be the biggest game since I was rubbing the wine bottle as an 11-year-old. So say it with me. M-I-Z.
Z-O-U. Nothing like a good old wine bottle rub, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, fellas. Well, that's going to take us into our next segment of uniforms of the week. There are a lot of blackout uniforms that teams are bringing out this weekend, and we got 5 of them that caught my eye. Let me know when you guys got that loaded up.
I'm just starting to look at
I'm
it.
looking at these unis right now.
All right, you guys. So what's the difference on the Wisconsin jerseys? Like, is the helmet different? I don't see much difference. There probably is, but
So we're gonna start out. We're gonna start out with the uniform of the week segment with the Wisconsin Badgers throwback. And right here they got, if you look at the numbers, clearly a different number font. They're going with more of the block letter font. And on the helmet, if you look at the W, it's more of a block letter W compared to the little accent that they have in their normal W. So it's a little clean throwback. I love it personally.
I love their
throwbacks.
sleeves.
Yeah, I mean they got the logo on the sleeves with the W and the Badger. It's kind of tough to see, but if you pay attention, if you really look close, they got that W with the Badger on it, and I'm a big fan of any logo that has the letter with the mascot in the middle.
Yeah, I like these a lot. I love the helmet. The W on the helmet looks clean. I like the 2 stripes. I mean, they do that all the time, but I don't know. I really like these helmets. I like these uniforms. I like what Wisconsin's doing. I like it.
I'm not a fan. I think they are pretty ugly. But now that I'm zooming in on the photo, I definitely see the W difference. I guess the numbers you said are different too. I don't really see the difference. But I just think the W, I'm a big helmet guy when it comes to like uniforms, and I just think the helmet looks really bad. So whenever they change their logo to what it was now, good choice by them.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. We got our first blackout uniform on a Friday night for the Washington Huskies when they take on Rutgers. What do you got on these Washington uniforms?
The helmet is just, beautiful. The shiny gold face mask with the gold outline on the W, the dogs in gold with the black helmet with some purple on it. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. And then obviously the black jersey and the black pants to match aren't anything. They're cool, but I think the helmet is the star of this uniform, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, Jay, I think you said it perfectly. The helmet is absolutely beautiful. I love the double purple lines down the middle. I think that makes it look clean with the black. And then I like how the logo's coming out a little bit too. How it's not just like a sticker. I don't know what would you call that? Almost like a decal. It's like a decal logo, which I feel like a lot of teams don't do that. It's normally just like a sticker or something. So that's pretty cool. Also the jerseys, the stripes on the shoulders, top off the jersey. Because otherwise the jerseys, it's really just black. But I think with the purple, good jersey.
Washington normally has great, clean uniforms, purple and gold, fantastic combo. I think the underrated aspect of these uniforms is that it's a Friday night game, and they're blacking out under the lights. And I love it. Shining bright like a diamond on that face mask. The gold looks phenomenal. The chrome looks phenomenal. I want to take the Huskies because of these uniforms. All right, now on to the Space U at UCF. They do it every year. I'll be honest, usually I'm not a fan of the Space U uniforms. They do a lot with them. And this year, not great in my opinion still, but I think they're doing better because it's a little more of a simple look. The Space U in big letters down the pants is giving me issues right now.
I was going to say, has UCF ever missed with the Space U uniform? So clearly we're not on the same wavelength here, because I love the Space U. It's my favorite uniforms every year. I think they're always sweet. Maybe just because JRP was rocking them, I don't know. But I love this one as well. Again, the helmet is fantastic. I don't really like the Space U down the pants, I will admit. But the black with a hint of light blue, I think it's fantastic. I think another home run by UCF with the Space U uniforms.
Yeah, I'm definitely with Tom on the pants, but I think if you look from the waist up, jersey's great. It's just the lettering. I don't like that look either. But the helmet and jersey, my favorite part. I think this might be my favorite jersey so far because the light blue with like the little white hint. I think that makes the numbers look amazing. I love that part of it.
I will say there's nothing that grinds my gears more than a team incorporating a color that is not their color. And we're not even close to Carolina blue here at UCF. You got to go a few miles up north, meet up with Bill Belichick and his interesting
Dog shit
girlfriend.
program. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, we're same thing. But I'm not sure how I feel about them. Like I said, the different color for just completely different color. The one team that can pull it off is Houston. But that has a lot more history than the Space U. So I'm
I
gonna
feel
deem
like
these an L. I think UCF has great uniforms, but I think they just do too much with these.
I feel like they've always put light blue in the Space U uniforms. I know they didn't. It was either last year or 2 years ago where they went in black and white only. But I feel like we've always seen a light blue in the Space U. I don't know if there's something special.
Always,
about
but
maybe
where's the light blue coming in their team's history?
we're gonna have to get an interview with someone and be like, dude, what's going on here?
Tavon Jackson,
I don't know.
hit me up, bro. I'll
I'm
ask
over
you how you
Casey
feel. I'm sure as a player you love him. Considering he used to wear Indiana colors, which pretty basic
Booty.
uniforms if you were to ask me. Yeah, pretty brutal. All right, we'll take you on to the fourth one. Texas Tech with maybe the worst rebranded logo of all time, but they are blacking out and throwing back at the same time. What do you got on that?
Blackout if you're not wearing all black.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. That's not a
Because
blackout.
those are cream pants, man.
Those are cream pants. There's a lot
Those
of
are
black going on
cream?
there, and a lot of stars going on as well.
For what?
Texas Tech.
What are the stars for? I see it, but like what? What are the stars? There's only one
I
star
don't
in
know
the
what the
Texas
stars
flag.
are for at all. They just added them, and I think if they were to just do those helmets without the stars, I think it would actually look pretty sick.
I think it looks terrible.
See, I'm not a fan of the letters like on the
The letters.
front above the numbers like that on the jersey. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's what I dislike the most.
It's giving me those Michigan State vibes when they had the neon green letters,
Yeah.
which are up there for some of the worst uniforms ever, along with those TCU red and gray. Yeah, I know everyone's different on that, but those were terrible in my opinion. The big letters, the stripes on the side of the jersey, and the stars.
Ugh.
I'm not feeling them right now. I think Texas Tech has some clean uniforms in general. I don't even think it's worth it to wear these.
Yeah, just throw
And the
them right
logo
on
change. That's awful.
The logo,
The logo
change for
change is
Texas
terrible.
Tech. The logo change for Texas Tech needs to be studied for years. Because how do you look at Cracker Barrel, simplify their logo, and everyone in the world absolutely hate on them, and then go, we should do the same exact thing a month and a half later? I won't understand that.
I have a question. What is up with college football teams from Texas just ruining simple great? TCU used to have some of the best jerseys in football. They simplify them. They're still all right. Not as cool as they used to be. Texas Tech, fantastic logo. Now, not so great. Why can't we just keep things good? Why does it gotta? I know everything's bigger in Texas, but does it mean it's got to be uglier too? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think Florida State's another one that did that. They took the little pattern they had on the side of their uniforms, which was awesome, in the first year of the Jordan Travis era and in the end of Jameis Winston's tenure, and I think they look terrible now. I think if you add that shoulder sleeve, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why did they ever get rid of that? Their uniforms were phenomenal. It fit the helmet with their logo and everything just great. It had the great gold contrast on the red. They were perfect, and now they're trying to mess it up also.
Yeah, I next. There's no more time talking about this trash.
Before you swipe to the last uniform of the week, if you want one reason to bet on North Texas tomorrow night, let's take a look at the uniforms that they're wearing in their mid-season playoff game against USF.
Those are clean.
Wow. Wow.
These are my favorite alternate uniforms that are being worn this week. It's like Washington, but the green just stands out more, and the wings on the helmets are
Fantastic.
awesome.
They look amazing. Only hate on it would be, I feel like if you didn't know they're North Texas, you might think they're Oregon. It's be my only thing about them. Just because, like, hasn't Oregon ran a similar helmet with, like, the wings on the helmet like that? I don't know if they ran, like, a
Their
blackout like
wings
this.
are a little bit different. They're more ducky wings. These are just
When I first looked at it, though, like, a fan might be like, is that Oregon? Otherwise, they look amazing. That'd be my only, like, hate on them. But
And
other
when
than
you
that,
watch
they
them
look-
play tomorrow night, you might ask the same question. Are they Oregon?
you won't
I
be
don't
asking
know.
that question.
They
You
could
won't
be.
I might be getting confused watching North Texas play on a Friday night, asking why Oregon's on my TV playing USF.
Well, I'll admit, uniforms are great. Go USF. I mean, they're going to be the cleanest team to ever lose in those uniforms. They're going to be the first team to get their dreams demolished in the coolest uniforms I've ever seen in my life. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, cool uniform. Go USF. Pretty simple.
Yeah,
Those
I'm
are
pretty
probably my
excited to see.
favorite.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see freshman year B team quarterback Jake leading the charge for North Texas in these things tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All
why
right,
not?
we'll move on to the big dogs of the week.
Woof.
These are the interesting games that have some heavy lines but could have significant impact on the college football playoff landscape, with the biggest one being game day. Indiana going to Eugene, Oregon, taking on the Oregon Ducks. What do you got?
Oregon. Oregon. I love Oregon in this matchup. I love Oregon minus 7.5. I think Indiana murdered Illinois. I think Illinois is a good football team. We'll talk about them next. I think that their win over Iowa was a great win, but I love Oregon. I know that overtime win in Penn State might not look as great now because that Penn State team did just lose one of the most embarrassing games in recent memory. But I think that game showed Dante Moore what he can do. The weapons on the outside. I think Oregon is going to be too much throughout every single aspect of the game for this Indiana team to keep up with. And Indiana, I would say, has yet to have a real big win under Kurt Cignetti. They have a bunch of mediocre wins, against mediocre teams. And I think that Kurt Cignetti beats the shit out of top 25 teams, but he can't beat the big dogs. He reminds me of James Franklin a little bit, and I love Oregon minus 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this line has to be 7.5 because if you're Indiana, the Big Ten's so messed up right now with the way they're traveling. I don't know how many miles that is, but that has to be so far, such a long trip. You're jet lagged and all that. Then you got to go play top 3 team in the country. I kind of agree with Jay on the part of Kurt might not be able to beat the big one, and I do think Oregon's part of the big 3 right now. 3 teams that have looked the best, which is like Oregon, Miami, and Ohio State. And even though that Penn State-Oregon game went to double overtime, I thought Oregon completely dominated the game. Like if you were watching it, I don't know how it went to double overtime. I think Penn State finally just got a few points on the board, and Oregon wasn't punching it in. But yeah. So when I see this line 7.5, my heart tells me to slam Indiana because I'm like, that's way too many points. This should be a good game. But there's a reason they have it at 7.5. So my gut's telling me to take Indiana, but that could easily be wrong. Oregon might whoop them.
Let me give you guys a stat. Indiana is averaging 260 rushing yards a game right now. They had 300 rushing yards in 4 different games this season, one of them being against Illinois. Have you ever heard of a team that ran for 300 yards for 4 straight games?
I feel like Army
No.
might have done it, or Navy. That they only run the football. But no, I have not. Absolutely not. No, it's unheard of. It's unreal.
That is unheard of. And with that being said, give me Oregon. I think Oregon could win the national championship. They would be my pick. at this point in time. Now, I do think the winner of this game, their quarterback put themselves in the driver's seat to be the number one quarterback taken in the draft.
Yep.
And I don't think it doesn't matter how it looks on paper. It doesn't matter how they played. I think if they come out with a win, either one of those guys, I think they're looked at as the favorite to be the number one quarterback taken in the draft, maybe the number one pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think.
Wait, you're saying in this Indiana-Oregon game, you think Fernando Mendoza has a chance?
I think he's been incredibly efficient all year, and I think he's gonna. I think he's almost underrated at this point because no one's talking about him. But putting up 73 points on Illinois is not necessarily a joke, even if Illinois is overrated. Putting up 73 points against anybody's not a joke, and he did it pretty easily. He's just been incredibly efficient all season, and I think he'll get his flowers if he can come out with a dub on this game.
Yeah, I think he could raise his stock, but I just think like NFL scouts would be like talent-wise, we can't draft him first overall. Because like I feel like anyone going one, or I guess if we were just talking first quarterback taken, because I don't know. He's been incredibly efficient, like Tom said. That is what he has. Like you look at what was his completion percentage against Illinois, like 20 for 23 or something.
Yeah, I think he had 2 incomplete passes the entire game, and
yeah,
he also had a half against Indiana State. I know it's Indiana State, but I believe he was 19 for 20 with 6 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, he's efficient, accurate, not on time. I don't know what else you could look for in a quarterback. Especially, I mean, I think the biggest test for him is I think Oregon's going to be able to stop this running attack, and we're really going to see what Fernando Mendoza is all about, because Oregon's going to take away the ground game, I believe, and force Francisco Mendoza to beat them. I don't think he will, but I think he's going to have a good game and prove to everyone he's a first round quarterback.
All right, with that being said, let's move on to Indiana, going to Columbus, Ohio as a 14.5-point underdog against Ohio State. What can the Fighting Illini do to stay in this game?
Pray.
I think absolutely nothing. I think they're just
you.
Yeah. I don't think
If Illinois comes out with a win in this game, I would be absolutely shocked. I know they got that loss out of the way, but people are almost looking down on Ohio State as if they're not good. It's almost like because their offense is boring that people are trying to find a way to bring them down. I think I would compare them to like the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles are a great team, but nobody wants to believe that they're great because they're just winning games so easily. And it's not flashy at all the way they're doing it, but they're getting the job done when it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think their most impressive win so far, not even the Texas game, first game of the year, I think it was Washington. Their home win streak was nuts to go in there, and it was like Tom said, a boring game. It's boring football. But they just completely manhandled them everywhere on the field. And I think I think that's their most impressive win, and that's kind of like, because I was kind of with them like, oh, Texas isn't that impressive, just because they looked like it was 14-7. So it's like no team really proved anything, but them going into Washington and doing that, I think, is their most impressive win, and that's why I don't think Illinois stands a chance.
Yeah,
they completely took Jonah Coleman out of that game against Washington, and Washington didn't score a single touchdown, and they've had a crazy high-flying offense all year. So I was really impressed by that. I think they're still up there. I think it's an undisputed top 3, in my opinion, between Ohio State, Oregon, and Miami right now. I think they all just look completely dominant no matter who they play. And each of them have snuck out a pretty good win in there somewhere. So those are the 3 teams that stick out to me. I know Ole Miss is sitting there at 4, but we're going to find out by the end of the year if LSU was legit, if there's something wrong with Nussmeier. And I do think with Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss looks absolutely phenomenal on offense.
Trinidad. Island time.
Island time. Illinois, you're fucked. Now we'll go on to the next one. Kansas is going to Texas Tech, taking on the undefeated Red Raiders, who have looked absolutely phenomenal this year.
Yeah, I think Jalen Daniels to win this game. I think Texas. How much have they won every game by? 20 plus, it's something like that.
Yeah, I think their closest game was this past weekend against Houston at 24.
Yeah, so they've whooped every single team. So I think if Kansas is going to stand a shot in this game, Jalen Daniels is going to have to be his like peak Jalen Daniels, which we've seen before. But I think that's the only way. Like if Jalen Daniels isn't that, I don't think they really stand a chance. Just because I think Texas Tech, like if you look at the odds, I think they're like plus 100 to win the Big 12. So I think they're clearly the best team in the Big 12, and I really don't expect it to Kansas to end that. So.
I picked Daniels to be my dude of the week, and I think you hit it perfectly. I think he has to play his best football game of the season, maybe of his whole career, to pull up this upset, and I think he's going to do that. I really am a firm believer in what him and Kansas can do with the football in his hands. I think he's going to have to do it all. He's going to have to run the football effectively. He's going to have to be efficient. He's going to have to be able to hit the deep ball. He's going to have to be able to beat them at all three levers and with his legs. I think he's the key. He's the key player of this matchup. The game relies on him. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to have a fantastic game. I think Kansas is a very underrated team. They walked into Missouri in a rivalry game of Missouri, a great team, and they battled their asses off, played a fantastic football game. Lance Leopold, the former Warhawk, is doing great things down there. I am excited, and I think Kansas gets it done on the back of Daniels, and a huge win for them as a program.
Yeah, I got Kansas for the upset. I got Texas Tech on upset alert, I should say.
Gotcha.
I think with a team full of transfers, I think the talent is undeniable, but I think playing together, it's getting to that point where you're going to find some gaps in the system, and I think a guy like Jalen Daniels is the one that's going to expose it, or that has a great chance to expose it. I think Kansas has a really good chance to win the game. I get the line's 14, and I get Texas Tech looks great, but their quarterback, Baron Morton, he's still a little bit injured. And like you said, Jalen Daniels is just an electric guy, and if he can put it all together, he's a really tough guy to stop. And I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, this is the time of year where we saw Kansas kind of put it together last year. See if they can do it again and pull up a huge upset and create chaos in the Pac-12. It was chaos last year. I think it's going to be chaos again this year. I think it's the worst conference, but the best conference because you never know what can happen on any given Saturday. Yeah.
All right, on to the last big dog of the week. South Carolina is going into Death Valley at LSU, who's coming off that bad loss against the Ole Miss Rebels. What can Lenora Sellers do to keep his team in it?
Well, like Jay, he picked Jalen Daniels. I picked Lenore Sellers. I think he's going to have a big game, even though LSU's defense has been elite, so people will be like, that's crazy. But, I mean, he's kind of South Carolina's whole offense. They have Nick Harbor who can make plays, but anyone outside of that really can't, so it's going to be up to him. And in my notes in this game, I said Garrett Nussmeier, it's time to ride some pine and see what Michael Van Buren can do. This LSU defense has been elite, and they're just wasting it with no offense. And I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is that bad. I just think you can easily see that he's playing injured because I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I've seen videos of last year him throwing the ball and this year, and he's getting no power on his throws. So give me Michael Van Buren if LSU's going to win this game. Anyways, give me South Carolina with the upset.
Yeah, so Van Buren's been taking every first-team rep this week.
Really?
That's the report coming out of Baton Rouge. But the second part of the report is that they're giving Garrett Nussmeier a week off, assuming that just means practice. But even without a week of practice, just stepping onto the game field, I don't like that for LSU. And with both of these teams, these teams have been pretty sloppy this year, to say the least. LSU hasn't been able to score. Both of these teams are sitting around 75% red zone scoring percentage. So a fourth of the time that they're inside the 20, they're not even walking out of there with a field goal. So I think it's going to come down to who can capitalize on scoring when you have the opportunity to. Now, I know that sounds pretty basic, who's going to score the most. But when you're a fourth of the time, you're not getting in even a field goal, out of driving all the way down the field, you're not going to win many games. So this is another playoff game in the middle of the season, I think, for both of these teams. Considering LSU still got to go play Alabama and Texas A&M and Oklahoma, they need to walk out of there with a win if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Both teams need to win. But I got you, Tom. You dubbed it Cocktober last episode. Baldwin got the upset. Give me the Cocktober to start off hot with a big win for the Gamecocks. Yeah, and I think they're going to win this football game. I think it's going to. We're going to see people help out Lenora Sellers. We've seen him be Superman. We haven't seen anyone step up to help him out. I think that South Carolina is going to be able to help him out. Hopefully, if they have to, they're going to win the football game. If they do, they're going to win the football game because Lenora Sellers is Superman, but he can't do everything. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense. He can do a lot, but he can't do everything. He needs a little bit of help. I think they're going to be able to put that all together, make some plays for Lenora Sellers, and they're going to win the game. Operator, put me on through. It's Cocktober.
Hey, man, even Superman's in the Justice League. He can't do it all himself. He needs Batman every once in a while. But, yeah, like you said, Jay, Cocktober's going to start with a bang. And I think they get it done. On top of everything, they lost that close game to them last year where Lenora Sellers did get hurt. And they were trying to argue that they should be in the playoff for it, which I don't agree with. But they have that revenge aspect of it, too. And I know they're going to Death Valley, but this is the time. This is the time for Lenora Sellers to step up and absolutely play like the best quarterback in the nation to beat this team.
Yeah, it's his moment. A chance for him to put his name back in the first overall pick conversation as well. A lot of big matchups for quarterbacks for their NFL future draft state this weekend. I think. I know now.
What's so Michael? My question would be: is if Michael Van Buren wins and the offense has looked its best all year, what happens the following week then?
How do you bench him? How do you take Van Buren out of the game if
The offense looks like crap.
How do you sit him?
Problem.
How do you sit him? I think if he does that, it's got to be his job. It's a thin leash, but it's his job.
I think if Michael Van Buren goes in there and wins, then Garrett Nussmeier gets that surgery that he's been putting off, and it's a clean breakup. I don't think they're going to use the term benching. I think it's going to be – they're not even going to say because Michael Van Buren played good, he's getting the surgery. It's just going to come out saying Garrett Nussmeier obviously missed last week. He's getting season-ending surgery, clean breakup. You know, I don't think the lawyers are going to get involved there.
The lawyers.
No diversity.
All right, with that being said, who is your big dog upset prediction of the week?
Cox. Give me the Cox. I love me cock. I love it. I love it.
It definitely going to Cocktober. I mean, what the spread's still at 9? I'm assuming.
Yep,
that'd be big. 9.5 going into Death Valley. Shut up, LSU fans. It would make my day. So I'm going with the Cox, like Jay said.
Let's have some fun.
Oh,
Give me the 300 rushing yard Indiana Hoosiers
Wow.
to go into Eugene and make it happen. I personally feel like the line should be bigger than it is, and that's why I'm leaning this way. I know I said earlier in the podcast that I do think Oregon can win the national championship, and I still do. I think this is where they drop a game, and then they come back around when they have to go into Columbus, Ohio, and I think they beat Ohio State in that game to prove that they are still legitimate, even though they lost to Indiana at home. Fernando Mendoza, what do you got?
What do you got?
What do you got?
All right.
Is it time for some what do you got trivia?
It is.
Give us a trivia introduction, Jay, for the clip.
As the reigning champion, I'm going to let the peasants fight it out in some what do you got trivia, Tom versus Baldwin. Here we go. Before Ashton Genty in 2025, who was the last Group of 5 player to finish top 3 in Heisman voting? 2 possible points if you can name me the player and the year.
Jordan Lynch, NIU 2013.
Bang! What a start
I
for
never would
Tom.
have got that.
Welcome to trivia. That was
And he
quick.
finished in third.
Wow.
And he finished in third.
He did finish third. Can you tell me
Out
who
of
got
six,
second?
there were 6 Heisman finalists that year, the most I've seen in my lifetime.
Yep. Now we'll go to question number 2. Quick 1-0 for Tom. What was the final score of the national championship game where Tua came in and hit a walk-off touchdown to Devontae Smith in overtime? Bama, what? Georgia, what?
27-24 Alabama.
Fuck, I was actually about to say that.
Incorrect.
Whoa. That's what. That was,
He's wrong.
26-23 Alabama.
Bang! 2-0, Tom.
I couldn't even get a score out.
With Baldwin sitting there picking his nose.
I'm supposed to let you go, Baldwin. Hey, I'm supposed to let you go, Baldwin. That's on me.
That is a
No,
penalty
no.
flag. There will be no points awarded to Tom as he is a cheating sumbitch. Question number 3. Who was the starting quarterback for Auburn when they pulled off the kick 6 to win the game? I don't need the guy who returned it. I need the quarterback
Nick
for
Marshall.
Auburn. Baldwin, got a guess?
Not besides Nick Marshall.
Well, the answer was Nick Marshall. It's 2-0. Timmy Galligan. Wow. Here we go. Timmy Galligan. Good thing I'm not playing against you because I might lose. Who did Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide to get Nick Saban's first national title for the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Was it Michigan State? His old team?
Incorrect.
Texas.
Tom, horns down.
With the sweep.
It was, in fact, Texas. What a performance out of Timmy Galligan. Baldwin, we're going to ask you one more
What if
question.
Colt McCoy never got hurt?
We're 0-2.
When Texas had that natty.
No,
You got more,
it was
Jen?
always Bama. I got one more question on my notes app. We're going to ask it. We're going to have a little fun. All right? This one was before we were born. When was the last time Nebraska won a conference championship?
1999.
What conference were they in?
The Big 12.
That's unreal. Unreal. Clap it up for Timmy.
How am I
for
supposed to
Tom.
beat this kid? I
Clap
was
it
going to
up
guess
for
like the
Tom.
80s.
Clap it up for Tom. An unreal performance in trivia. We got ourselves a new GOAT. My Lord. Tom, what a
Was the
performance.
1999 Nebraska team the best college football team ever?
No, because of the 2009 recency bias. LSU, because I never got to see the 1999 Nebraska team play with my own 2 eyes. That's why. Some other reason.
What about
That's it.
01
I
Miami?
can't-
Never got to see him either.
They were tough.
Who was the quarterback of the 2001 Miami team?
I just remember their defense.
Dude, it was a swaggy white guy, no?
Oh, I low-key remember watching this from the dock.
No guesses?
Dude, you weren't alive in 2001. What do you mean you remember watching it?
Who said that? Me? I didn't say
You
that.
said I remember
You said a
watching
doc.
it in front
You
of
said
the
a
doc.
documentary.
No, there's a Miami doc where they like follow like Jimmy Johnson around ESPN E60 or whatever.
Oh, okay, I
Like
got
a
you.
documentary.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you were on like the dock of a fishing boat or something, and you were watching it.
No.
Dude, I feel he played in the NFL, right?
Yep.
Was it Mark Sanchez?
Nah. R.I.P. Mark
Who was it?
Sanchez.
He was a nobody.
Yeah, dude.
Ken
Tough
Dorsey.
shout. Yeah, I would never got that. I would have never got that. I'm not as smart as you.
Well, with that being said, that's going to wrap up the first ever What Do You Got pod.
What do you got?